and I'm here to ask you a favor. We are having our 38th William Ketchum Parade in Septemberfest, and we would like the RCSD to participate. Shirley Melcher is in charge of the parade. I'm the vice president of the chamber, and we would like to ask you, if at all possibility, that you could be a platinum sponsor. That means that you would get a free parade entry. You would have a booth in the park at your convenience to use. Your banners would be up and waving. We would have all this stuff going on at the same time at the parade. And we want to try. We have one other request. Since I was on the board when we purchased Sweet Sue, if at all possible, we would like to have Sweet Sue and the RCSD participate in the parade. It's always been a tradition that the RCSD participated, and they were able to do that, and everybody knows Sweet Sue. And also, we would like you to renew your membership in the Chambers of Commerce. I have an application here that I can give to you so that you could actually renew your membership. And I have all this stuff put together, but it really comes down to the board. We would love to have, since we don't have a lot of the sponsors we had before because of this coming away from LA County, and so what happened is some of the people that supported before are not doing so. Diamond Gyms, for example, and some other people are not. So if at all possible, if you could say it clear to your general manager that you could be a platinum sponsor, we would appreciate it. But we would also appreciate the fact that Sweet Sue would be in the parade. All right, I'll give the information. It's about all you need. Or do you have some questions?
What's the price on that? I think I know.
Pardon me?
The price for Pat being a sponsor.
Okay.
The price?
$1,500.
$1,500? That's an agendized item.
Is it? Okay.
It's on the agenda.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Oh, by the way,
presentation.
I was here the other day when you were having that meeting to discuss about different things that's going to happen, your goals and objectives. And it took me back a long time to when we did that before. And you set goals and objectives for this community and did the things the board wanted to do. I thought it was very interesting. I really appreciate Steve, the way he answered the questions that were put to him and different things like that. So, and I did get to see a lot of the boards and things like this, but there was a few people there. But thank you very much for letting me come up. Byron, Glennan invited me, that's the reason I came. Thank you.
Several years ago, I was hired by your Parks and Recs department, when you had a Parks and Recs department, as a tennis instructor at what is now, I believe, William Ford Park, if I'm not mistaken. Recently, I have had several requests from Rosamond residents for tennis lessons. I currently live in Lancaster, and they have contacted me there. The reason I'm here this afternoon is to determine if your courts are available for an independent contractor to teach tennis lessons, and to make you aware that Rosamond residents have been looking elsewhere other than Rosamond for tennis lessons. If those courts are available for an independent contractor to work there, I would like to get more information on the procedure for gaining access to the courts. Thank you.
If Mr. Johnson would just contact Lizette next week, next Monday, we can get him on a schedule. I think the only thing that we would be concerned about, if other people are using it and we have an independent contractor coming in, taking all the time. I don't think we're under that condition, but if we schedule you in there, we'll have some specific times that you can go in and do what you need to do.
Okay, where would I get the contact information for this?
Mr. Johnson, while you're waiting for that, you said some of our people contact. Do you have, I don't know if I have to have a specific number, but is there enough to support your time coming up here for that?
I'm not sure. That's something I would have to determine.
Because the reason I'm asking, you know, the Rosamond High School, they just started a tennis team. And
Okay.
I think that, you know, perhaps in conjunction with that, that'd be a good support because they're brand new. I mean, like brand new first year. And my daughter's playing tennis, and that's something that, if it's possible, I'd like to give her that additional advantage there. Getting some additional instruction, and there could be other folks. So it's something that we could possibly help you with. I'd like to see that come to life if we could, because not only for the adults, but for people in general, that's kind of a non-strenuous type activity that people can take part in. So I hope that we can bring it full circle with your help to kind of bring it to life.
Yes, actually, there was a dialogue between Parks and Recs, when there was a Parks and Recs here, the high school and myself, concerning exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, that's
And it's something that I would like to see happen. And incidentally, I am certified by the USPTA, United States Professional Tennis Association, and I work closely with the USPTA. We have all sorts of programs that will address any tennis needs that you would have in the area.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We did have a workshop yesterday, and it was a culmination of information from the public, from the staff, from the executive staff, and ideas that the board has about where we're going to be in 5 years. We do have to do long-range planning here. We are under a requirement that 40 years from now, you're still going to have water in your town. So we need to have planned progressions and go over, where we are, where we want to go. And it was very, very good. It was fruitful, and it was long. We were here from 2 o'clock until 5:30, working on that. The public was here. There was some good interaction, and we appreciate that input. One of the things that the public said, that they want more information. They want more notifications. We do send a lot of information in the bills. The bills must be read if that information is going to be absorbed. And we try very hard to talk about different information here at the meeting. I happen to hit on a blog site that complained bitterly that we talk too long here in the meetings. And that's too bad. One of the requirements that when we go to a conference, we're spending the public's money, we're aware of that, we're getting an education. We're learning how to govern better, we're learning how to be more effective in the water industry. It is a requirement for us to speak about that in a public meeting and to write it up and put it and submit it to the board and to the minutes. So there are some things that may raise question marks in your mind. Do ask us, because we're under some regulations that we need to do some things. And hopefully we try to keep our conversations succinct and not waste your time or our time, but we do need to try to inform you of what's going on. So that's just a little tidbit that I had bumped into, and I think needs to be corrected in the public's understanding, that we're just not here to hear ourselves talk. We are concerned about the community, we are invested in this community, we're your friends, your neighbors, and so on. And what goes on here is important to all of us. And some of the things we say, we do, and the interaction is important for us to get our views out to you. So thanks again for being here, and pass it on.
Points Kathy hit on. We have folks that they like to take pot shots behind electronics or whatever. And I had an incident where a person said what we were not doing. I think we do a good job, but the job's only going to be well done if we get input from the community. And I know we get busy, we all get busy, work schedule, family schedule, life schedule. But I would ask everyone, if questions, concerns come up, before someone adversely comments about it, get some fact-based information to support it. The GM's not available, the staff's not available, my phone number is available to you folks. You can call me up because two things always happens. We make snap judgment decisions. We say things that are probably not real complete. People know that information. And that's not fair to people that work very hard. This district's been attacked because people can't attack them, not because they need to be attacked. And then everyone kind of backs off and says, well, I thought. But, I thought to be very damaging. So this is a good community. And one of the things that's happened probably in the last 6 months to a year, a lot of us have heard a lot of things and we don't know where they originated to do bad things in the community. So my challenge to all of us, let's get back to where we were, where we kind of build as a whole. There's a lot of things going on. This gentleman lives in Lancaster, but he thinks enough of us to probably come back up here, and that's encouraging. Our sports season is starting now for the kids. Let's support them. We talked about football last time, but soccer is also starting up at United Park on the weekend. So we have a good community, and I'd ask all of us to be part of the community. Greg, he'll talk about the cancer walk when we had this past weekend, but a lot of people showed up to support a very good cause. So we have good things. So my challenge to all of us, leave that you don't know to the side, that you know about support and push forward. Thanks, man.
Wallis. Well, we're glad to see you here. Like I said, if you have concerns, we'd like to hear them. Encourage your friends to come out. We'd like to see a lot of people here. Thank you.
Just to add to what, or tag on to what Director Spoor said, we spent about 4.5, 5 hours here yesterday, and I appreciate Robert Scherer and others that were here. There were 4 from the community here in that workshop, and our consultant presented the information that came from a workshop that was open to the public. The directors weren't there deliberately, so the public could have the freedom, and the general manager wasn't there, and there were 6 people at that workshop. So we've conducted a workshop for the 5 years into the future, and we have, and 2 of those were repeats. So we have, from the community, 7 people giving us input for the direction for the next 5 years.
Kind of touch on that before I get on to the cancer walk. Be as it may, no matter what people think, of which direction the board is going in or whether they agree with the decisions or not, the most important thing that we have in this community is that we have 5 people sitting up here, and we are going. They go to seminars to get educated. Each person up here brings a certain expertise. I've got 35 years of water experience and sewage treatment. But this community is facing a lot of difficult things coming up in the future. Arsenic removal, chromium-6 removal, the drought, getting our sewage treatment plant going, getting through the sewage treatment plant is ready to go. The problem is that it's in the approval process with the state, and we got to wait on them to get all their I's dotted and T's crossed. But we need to implement a recycled water plant, which we're ready to do as soon as we get the approval to use the water. So there's a lot of challenges, not just this community, but every community, and we need the community's input. We need the community to be talking to each other, just like the step 2 water restrictions that we're under right now. It's important that the community talks about it, watches out for each other, not to tattle on each other, but to look for ways to conserve water. I heard on the news yesterday that the LA County or the City of LA area has reduced their water consumption by 7.5% since this mandate went into effect. That is great because they were up to about 7.5% or 8% above their use last year. So people are getting the message. This drought is real. And we're gonna get through this. But, the decisions we make up here, affect a lot of people. And we have to make sure we make the right decisions. And, we have a water bank in place. There's a lot of things that we've done right. And, we're gonna continue to try to do things right to make sure that this community, number one, has water. Number two, the sewage is collected and treated. And number three, we have a plan to see us through in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And that's paramount to any board that sits up here. No matter who's sitting up here, they have that responsibility. And it's important that the community understands what we're doing so that way they can support the decisions and also get behind them to where they, so they can feel comfortable that they're going to have the water and stuff that they need in the future. With that said, we had our cancer walk, run, and ride this last weekend, and it was a great event. I want to thank everybody for coming out that showed up. It was a miserably hot day. I mean, it was just brutal. But you know what? It went on because that's the way the cancer walks go on everywhere. Rain or shine, blazing sun, because cancer doesn't take a day off of the weather either. And this year, we had somebody on the track every minute of that event. There was at least one person walking on that track, and for the entire 24 hours. So, the people came out, the crowds were big, then they were small. Then they were big, then they were small. But you know what? The enthusiasm was great out there. We had food vendors, we had a bounce house for the kids, we had great entertainment. We sold t-shirts, people were donating money in the bucket. And, it was a successful event. And I can't thank the committee that put in, hundreds of hours throughout the year to put this thing together. I can't thank all the volunteers that showed up to help decorate luminary bags, set them out there, set things up, tear things down, sweep, clean. It was wonderful to see the community respond. And we're going to do this again next year. And we'll be having our first meeting in probably around the 29th of this month to kind of get everything kicked around and get ready to go for next year. And my committee of Rick and Steve and John sitting out there, he was there, and people were there, and it was great. And you were out there helping out too, and so it was just great to see everybody out there. And I believe the temperature, somebody told me it was 107. And it was hot, but we got through it. The night turned out to be beautiful. And but I just encourage everybody to be watching Facebook, go to the website, keep your eyes out on social media, because we don't have a budget to go to the newspapers and go to radio and stuff like that, or put up billboards. We're just not there. So our only way of communicating is through social media, through the RCSD website, through the Southern Kern Unified School District website. We have our own website, which is rosamondcancerwalk.com. So just tell your neighbors and friends to be watching that for news, and then that way next year's event will be even bigger than this year. Thank you.
I think each of the board members took my thunder on their strategic plan. But the strategic plan, good comments from those that attended, and a good discussion about the direction for the district and our mission and our vision. And it's coming together real well. In reflecting on it yesterday evening after the meeting, I was sorry that more people in the community didn't attend, because it clearly lays out the direction for the next 5 years for this agency and what we're thinking. And we've had a public meeting to take input from the public on the strategic plan, as well as the workshop yesterday, and it was attended. Bob, we thank you for being here, and Bob Scherer for your comments that you gave us during that process. We just wish that there was more in attendance. Hopefully we'll be have all the information completed, and we'll have the full 5-year strategic plan before your board in the last meeting of October
22nd.
the 22nd for consideration and approval. I've been staying on top of the Chrome 6 issue. We're meeting quite frequently with the state, and we do have a test well site picked out. We have not contacted the owner as of yet. The state has agreed to pay for the test well. Significant cost, so we have been successful in getting them to agree that they need to buy into.
That's good.
Yes, so they're prepared to take that on and added it to our engineering and feasibility portion of the grant, and we're moving forward on that.
You can reference that, or is that secret?
Right now, I'm going to keep it confidential because we have not contacted an owner, and that information will be coming to me possibly tomorrow for direct contact with the owner and try to get their agreement to purchase. May have to put our attorney on it to negotiate with them, because I think when they find out it's going to be an agency, they're probably going to try to get premium dollar for it. In any case, that's still moving forward and moving well. We still, and I want to say this in public, we still have to monitor our 3 wells for the chromium, and we haven't requested a grandfathering of our previous water studies on it, but we'll start a 3-quarter assessment beginning tomorrow, or next Tuesday will be the 1st, December will be the 2nd, and March will be the 3rd, and then we will probably get, if we're still above the limits on each well, they're independent, we'll get a letter of being in violation, and that letter will kick us into the mode to start looking for and getting in the funding stream for, hopefully, we can accomplish mitigation revenues for our chromium issue. So we're hopeful for that. John and I talked about it this evening, and we're on track to proceed as fast as we can to get into the funding stream as fast as we can.
Steve, is there any word or any kind of rumbling out there that the state might go ahead and give a grace period on this, or are they going to hammer it to get in there? What I'm hoping that the state will kind of let technology kind of catch up to bring the cost down. That's what I'm hoping that they'll do.
Well, what they're going to expect from entities is you are doing something to address the issue, and that's why I want to get into the funding stream. That funding stream may take a while, but while we're in that process, we won't be held liable for that until something should happen. The water bond that will be coming forward on the November ballot will have revenues available that will be dispersed in a myriad of different areas, but more importantly, to focus on reliable water. But some of it's going to be in revenues to take care of issues like safe drinking water, storage, as well as reliability. So we don't know yet, because the bond, number one, has not been passed, and where it's going to be allocated to exactly yet. But we're hopeful that we'll have an opportunity when we get into the funding stream, that part of that revenue is going to go there to help us out in mitigation. So that'll be real good news should that bond pass. So today I attended a Kern County Special Districts Association meeting and did a briefing on legislative issues that we've been working on. And one of our number one issues, as you're aware, I'm the chairman of the Ledge Committee for the state organization, and that is protecting our tax revenue. And your property taxes in the past, when they were collected, there were entities called RDAs, Resource Development Agencies, and in these agencies, what they did, or redevelopment agencies, I'm sorry, what they did is they kept the property tax revenue within their sphere of influence. And that property tax money did not go to the county or the state for distribution. So basically, special districts were cut out of revenue that they normally would have received. So it was diverted. What we have successfully been able to do is turn that around. And with that, well, we didn't turn it around per se, but the RDAs were dissolved through actions in the legislature. But the issue was, what's going to happen to that property tax dollar? And CSDA and our Ledge Committee and members of that committee fought hard to ensure that special districts receive the distribution of tax dollars that they normally would, or restoring those. So of approximately $5 million a year that were diverted, we have gotten to date approximately $310 million returned of the $500 million a year. So we're starting to see a bump in our ad valorem tax that is coming back to our district. This year we budgeted a little bit higher amount because we were getting a little bit more than we have been. So that's good news, getting a little bit more revenue. The issue of redevelopment agencies is not what we're after. There's a lot of blight in the state, and there's a lot of blight in a lot of communities, and something needs to be done. And that brings me to another piece of legislation by Jim Bell out of Santa Clara, and it's SB 628, which basically says that if there's infrastructure to be built and you want to use the property tax increment, any of those entities that would normally have received part of that would have to agree for that revenue to be used for that purpose, which gives you the ability to address infrastructure issues and not have your property tax increment just summarily removed from your entitlement. So that's another piece of legislation that went to the governor for signature and for an extremely large support from CSDA. There are there's probably 250 bills that I and my committee have to go through, and I could go through, spend a whole evening going over each one of these pieces of legislation. But two important ones that directly hit home here are those two important pieces. So as just a example, that's what we're doing. With that, I believe I'll stop right there, but we're still working hard on the arsenic grant, as you know. The adjudication is still moving forward. I know the people are wondering what we're going to do with and what's going to become of the adjudication, and I will brief the board because it's litigation in a moment. I think it's still on. no, it's not today, we'll do it next week. Our next meeting, I'll do a briefing and an update, but it's still moving forward. And one important issue that I wanted to make sure the board's aware of is not only the adjudication, but the chromium issue as it pertains to finance from this agency. In the budget, we have some additional revenues, but as was discussed in the last meeting, we have to have revenues in case of an emergency. It's prudent to do so, especially in an agency such as ours. In the adjudication, we're preparing for an 80% decrease of water that we can pump out of the ground. The significance of that decrease is we pump water out of the ground at a price of about $90 an acre foot. And at today's dry year water rate, it's around the $800 an acre foot price. The average summer price is about $440. So any way you cut it, even if we weren't in a drought condition, that's $350 more per acre foot. That 80% looks like we currently pump 3,000 acre feet a year to serve the community, and we're going to get 600 acre feet a year. So we have to go out and purchase another 2,400 acre feet, where I have to get extremely creative and buy water from other sources, which I've already started negotiating for, to keep that price down. It has been asked of the board, what are you doing to reduce my water bill, my fee? And the best answer, I think, is what we can do is do everything to keep from letting it rise prematurely, because most of the impacts are coming from areas that are out of our control. The legislature, chromium, other standards, other regulatory impacts that we have to comply to because of a public health and safety issue. And that's what we tried to do, and that's my recommendations to the board, is to fight every bit of time to try to keep the cost down. So that's why we have reserve revenues, because if we have to go out and borrow money, the interest rates on those monies are going to be significant, and it's added cost, and it takes attorneys to negotiate contracts and bonds and or other things in order to accomplish it, and it just adds to the overall cost of water and sewer and everything else we do. So with that, I'm done discussing those issues, and thank you.
Get legislative body working together and try to get the agencies accepted. It's in conversation. It needs to grow legs.
And, you know, that's another thing talking on Steve brought up, is our sewage treatment plant. That being able to produce tertiary treated Title 22 water, that we are certified for 750,000 gallons a day of tertiary water. And that's about 1/2 of our input, a little more than 1/2 of our input that's going in there right now. But if we can capture, reuse all of that water and turn off the water at Williford Park, United Street Park, anywhere they're using water to water public medians and Glendower Park, things like that, and keep that water in the aquifer instead of pumping it out, and use and replace that water with recycled water. That is what the payoff for this community is gonna be is that we could actually save enough water to supply, I'm gonna be conservative here, about 18 to 1,900 homes a year with water. And so there's so many good things that can come out of the sewage treatment plant. And we are real, this one, sir, we are real close to getting to that point to where, you know, it's gonna become a reality once the, all the permits come through from the state. But, you know, once we start reusing that water, then we can start getting savings and conservation, and it's just basically a word for it is in-loop pumping. And so that's something that, we have another option that's going to help us through dry years and through the adjudication process as well. Yes, sir.
How are you gonna get the water from point A to point B without putting a whole new system in? You're not gonna truck it over.
No, you're right, and it's going to take time. You know, it's not going to be done overnight. We realize that, but we've already got a lot of the purple pipe infrastructure put in the streets. A lot of the new construction over here has the purple pipe already there. The purple pipe is already run to within, 200 or 300 feet of Glennan Park. So it's in there, and yes, we're going to have to run some purple pipe. We're going to have to dig up some streets, and we're going to have to put some purple pipe in to deliver it. But it is an option that we do have. And without that sewage treatment plant, we wouldn't have that option.
And if it goes to the mine, they're gonna pay for that, right? The mine's gonna pay for the private line.
One other thing, we do have infrastructure on this side of the freeway stepped out. We have the infrastructure between the senior homes on the corner of Rosamond Boulevard and Sierra Highway. It comes through there to the northeast corner of the elementary school, just past that, almost to the fence, the gate, and can serve the elementary school play area, that green area, as well as Glendower Park, the Kern County Park. They've already signed a letter, as has the seniors, as has the mine. So we have a place to send that water right now. There's enough water there to handle not only the mine, but all of our domestic uses that we have today, which is the high school, the elementary school, the parks, West Park, and all the parkways, as well as United Street.
You're talking strictly grounds though, you're not talking, you said domestic, but the...
Domestic grounds.
Yeah, because it's, the state's not gonna let people drink it no matter how pure.
Oh,
it
no,
is.
no. You won't use it for drinking water, although they do it in the state of
I don't see
California.
a problem with it.
Right, and it
What's-
is,
What per gallon this is costing us? Is this like 50% of fresh water, or is this?
we'll probably be an 80% of fresh water, so, or potable water. And it's a generated revenue that will help mitigate and put in some of the infrastructure.
Right now, when you're talking about the percolation rate, Lahontan currently requires a 4-to-1 percolation. In other words, if we spread an acre-foot of recycled water in the water main, we're going to have to add 4 acre-foot of water from the aqueduct to it to comply with the blending. So, and we're hoping that, one day those regulations will come, will relax a bit, but you never know. Right now, that's the current one. So the most easiest way to do it is pipe it to parks and school sites where they're using potable drinking water to keep the grass green, and use the recycled water for that purpose instead.
Your capacity right now is 50,000, you can go up to 750,000.
Pardon me?
The capacity of your plant right now is 50,000, but it can go up to 750,000.
Well, yeah, it can't go up to 750,000. Right now, we're going to probably start out with about 500,000 gallons a day. We're bringing in about 1.4 million gallons of influent per day, But the plant can be expanded in the future. You know, it was built to be expanded to, I believe, 3 MGD, or 2 point something MGD. I can't remember the exact number. But, you know, it's an option that we have in this community, which is good for us. And I'd be more than happy after the meeting to talk to you about it and discuss it.
Okay, you pretty well answered your question. One more question I have, what happens if solid waste is removed from the system?
It's dried out and put in settling ponds, but there's, because of the process, it's not as extensive as it is when it goes to the regular ponds, directly out to the ponds. You probably have 25% of the organic matter.
Is that pond near Avenue A?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I smell that once in a while, the wind is just right. Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for answering my questions. I was curious.
Item 6, action items. Item A, discussion and possible action to adopt resolution 2014-16, acting as the governing body of the assessment district set forth herein, authorizing and ordering judicial foreclosure of current and past delinquent special assessments in said districts pursuant to the Improvement Bond Act of 1950 and taking certain actions in connection therewith. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion is made by Director Glennan, seconded by Vice President Webb. Discussion.
Sure.
Shirley?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. What we're requesting here is the removal of delinquent assessments, mainly from it's for the continuation of the workout of the matured District 1991-3. The delinquencies involved in this request are from last year, the year 2013 tax bill, and it involves the ongoing assessment district number 1990-2. Because of the overlap in the two districts, the parcels involved are the ones that overlap into the 1991-3, which is why we're continually picking up ongoing delinquencies to finish off the workout.
And this is a continuation of
It's a
that,
continuation of the
work down.
1991.
So these folks have settled the claim, and they're going to be taken off the delinquency.
These parcels, these folks are in an overlapping situation with 1991-3, the matured workout district. And because you cannot work with a parcel and not take all of its delinquency, you can't single out 1991-3. You have to take all the assessment district delinquencies at the same time. And because parts of the 1990-2 overlap, these are the parcels that, even though it's just past year's delinquencies, they've got to be included once again in order to free 1991-3. You can't piecemeal your assessment district delinquencies. If one parcel is covered by 2 or 3 assessment districts, they all have to come off at the same time and be worked with a foreclosure attorney.
Okay, so somehow, yeah, they should only be assessed once, not in 2 different assessment districts. So you're just basically removing them so that they're single assessment district, and then they can be dealt with in that manner. Is that what I'm understanding you saying? Because it sounds like there was a...
There are some parcels that were part of the 1991-3 assessment district. The same parcel is also part of the 1990-2 assessment district. And in some instances, it's a 1999-4 on one parcel. And you have to remove them all to work with the delinquent status and correct the delinquent status. The
So
workout.
this is a cleanup? This is
Yes.
a cleanup
Yes.
of the different parcels?
Yes.
So that then they can be settled out? Right. Okay.
Having an understanding of the workout itself, and what we're trying to accomplish is to get the properties to a point where they can sell. And that is in the removal of a lot of this stuff that's preventing that sale. Well, if we're gonna do it for one, we have to do all of it and prepare those properties so we can recoup the revenues for the bondholders and make the district look like heroes because we went above and beyond trying to capture that revenue for them instead of just sitting down and not doing anything, because that's where we would have
So
an
this is
impact.
more good faith and good business practice?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
And just for those that, in the audience that don't know what bond issue we're talking about, when was the bond
91.
levied or passed? And, how many years have transpired that we're working on this bond?
The main, the workout is involving mainly the bond issue that is 1991-3, issued in 1991. It was a 20-year bond, and it matured in 2012.
So if the public got that, these were bonds 1991 that were passed, and when the economy crashed, twice?
Two.
The economy crashed twice, okay. And this is something that the board has been trying to resolve all these years. So the time frame is up and we can move forward with it. We've been trying to clear the docket a little bit. Is there a percentage of solution that we've accomplished from the properties? Have we managed to clear off 10, 20%, anything like that? Do you have any numbers like that?
I don't have the exact percentage, but I would guesstimate that we're probably about 70%.
That we've cleared?
That has been cleared or about to go to sale.
Okay.
And the other part of that is a lot of them have come up and made them current, which is good for
Which is
everybody
very
concerned.
It's really good.
Part of the problem is the fact that the penalty and interest that go with the ad valorem taxes also go with the assessment district delinquencies. And because of the many crashes, the valuation is a lot lower in many cases than what is outstanding, which is why by removing them from the tax roll, foreclosure folks, attorneys are able to go back to Kern County judge system and the judicial process and ask for a reduction in those outstanding delinquencies because they make them just ridiculously priced. That's how they're adjusting their price, going through the judicial system to lower the delinquencies.
Well, this is really good. If any of you driving around have wondered why isn't that parcel developed or here or there, what's going on? Many of them, lots of them were locked up in this kind of a bond collapse with too many penalties against it. And so now 70% of the property in question is now will be
It's in
released
process.
onto the market and can be incorporated in part of a useful growing Rosamond.
Most entities would have went, they would have stood back and said, we don't have to do anything. And we certainly could have done that. But where it impacts an agency like this, when you have a bond, is when you have to go and get a loan, and the lending institutions look at how you, or if you wanted to pass a bond, for instance, they'll look at you and how you treated the bond before, and your interest rate could go sky high. And so this is protecting the district's good credit rating and doing the right thing to get the bond investors as much back as we possibly can.
On measure, when I was appointed to the board in 1997 for the first time, bonds were in trouble then because they had already had the first downturn in the real estate And the bonds were sold, the 1988, 1990, and the 1991 bonds were sold because they needed the money for the infrastructure to put in the sewer system and water lines and everything else for the projected growth of this community. And there were some people were saying this community was going to grow to 150,000 in the next 20 years. So, like Steve said, the 1913 Street and Highway Act says that bondholders essentially, when you go out and purchase bonds, you do so at your own risk. And that the public agency, also known as Rosamond Community Service District, has no responsibility to make those bonds whole. And so, yes, it could have been very easily for the Rosamond Community Service District years ago to just, wipe their hands clean and just let the bonds default and just let the bondholders go away. But, out of a sense of responsibility, all of the board members that have served on this board since that time have felt it was necessary to make sure that do everything we can to make the bondholders whole. And that is something we have tried to do through all kinds of workouts, like we're doing tonight, trying to get things worked out, clean up parcels, forgive assessment fees on the parcels, try to get the county to forgive back taxes, anything we can come up with to try to get the property sold. Bob was in a lot of those decisions when he was on the board, and so the fact is that it's important, not just for our credit rating, like Steve said, that's a very important reason, but it's also just for the credibility of this community, that if we ever need to sell bonds again, that we will, be attractive to bond buyers. And I really believe that because of the way this board acted in trying to do everything they can to keep the bondholders whole, that is one of the reasons why I think the school district was successful in selling their bond measure and getting people to buy bonds for the schools, because they had faith that this community is going to back them up. They're going to do everything they can to make them whole. And so, we will continue to keep working until every parcel that's out there right now is clear and can be sold again and built on and everything else. So we're not done yet. We've got a lot more property out there that's still, dealing with the bond issues, and but we will continue to work and try to clean them up, because we want every bondholder that invested in this community years and years and years ago to be made whole for their investment. Any other discussion on this item? Okay, we have a motion and a second, and it's a roll call vote.
Director Kathleen Spoor.
Yes.
Director Alfred Wallis.
Yes.
Director Byron.
Yes.
Vice President Rick Webb,
Yes?
President Greg Wood.
Yes. Okay. And it passes.
I was so enthused about asking you to come and participate and to invest your money, but I forgot to tell you why. This is the William Ketchum Memorial Parade for veterans. This year it's a salute to wounded veterans. We have a wounded veteran which lives in Lancaster, is going to be the marshal of our parade. I won't give you his name, a lot will come up. But we do have, the things is that William Ketchum was one of our assemblymen, our congressman to Washington, D.C. He went back there to represent, and he actually got the William Ketchum Parade entered into the Hall of Records. It is official, sponsored by the United States of America. And we have this program right here. And so what happened is, what you're voting for is to support veterans, to support and help everyone we can. And so I was negligent and selfish in not really saying that this is for the veterans of the United States of America. I'm a veteran myself, and so I just cheated myself. So before you discuss this thing, I didn't realize it was going to be on the agenda, and thank you very much. And then I realized I hadn't told you why we're having the William Ketchum Memorial Parade. And a lot of flags, a lot of bands, a lot of good times. And so thank you. I'm sorry, but we still want Sweet Sue in the parade. Thank you.
The staff would recommend that we contribute to the September Fest. The full amount is requested, the $1,500, with a couple conditions that in the spirit of participation in the community, I would suggest that the board have some participation on the chamber board to reintegrate into the decision-making process and be participatory in our community. And with that, get a booth at the September Fest, or be given a booth for the contribution. And also to ensure, because of our contribution, a full accounting of the revenues generated, expenditures made, and profits of the September Fest, so we can properly report back and account for that expenditure. And with that, that would be the recommendation of staff.
Hey, can I make a comment? First of all, I support that wholeheartedly. But Dr. Scherer, when this came up before, of all the people in this community here, you're probably one of the most genuine people I've ever met. You come from the heart of everything you do. I think one of the problems that comes up, you have people that have other agendas that they want to try to push forward, and yours is genuine. You want to be right by the community. And when it came up, I don't know if you were at the meeting, but someone challenged us for not having that particular amount in a budget matter, where you have this much money, you should do this much. And we're going to support it some way, somehow. We have to come out and walk ourselves, whatever we do. But I think one of the things I would ask you to maybe take back to your board over there, that in a community our size, we're too small to beat up on one another. We've become very good at being bullies. And I will tell everyone, I'm done with being bullied, because I'm going to do the right thing by Rosamond, the numbers, not Rosamond, the few. And I'm going to support this because I respect you, number one. And it's the right thing to do. That's number two. And I'm going to throw the challenge out to you. You can let your people know. This is like walking to our house. When they come up here and make these comments that it's not fair to the community because they get a very one-sided slant. When your board members come up here and say, if you have all this money, you won't give us any of it. It's not the way it goes. A budget, if you, and you own your property, you know what a budget is. You put money for certain things. So, Big Bertha, the truck is part of the parade. Sweet Sue. I'm thinking about another thing. Anyway, it's part of the parade. Dr. Scherer, I'm glad you came, because you coming tilted it to the side that I wanted it to be on, because you are Rosamond as far as I'm concerned. From day one, you've been walking, you've been talking. You're the only one that complained about when they cut a tree down up there, Rosamond Boulevard. You're out there complaining about the tree being cut down. So, Steve's right, we should be a part of it. But I think that in order for us all to push forward, people have to realize that this is not us against them. It's we together as a community pushing forward together collectively for the best. So I do support it. When we take the vote, I'm letting you know, you can tell your board people that you are responsible for any good response that comes from the director because of your actions and your commitment to us and our community.
I would also add, before your consideration, to join the chamber and be part of that also.
I concur with that also.
I've been a member of the chamber for years. I'm very supportive of the chambers of commerce. And one thing that chamber members are to do is to support each member that's in the chamber. Not beat up another business person, not speak bad about them. but to support them and work with them and work in the community together. So if we become a member of the Chambers of Commerce, I'd expect that we work together as chamber members and not harangue each other. I have worked on the September Fest parade, or September Fest, since the beginning. This is one year I have not on the committee. I think since 1992, I've missed maybe 2, being on the committee twice. I'll be at the park. It is our one free day of entertainment provided by the Chambers of Commerce, and all the sponsors, all the business people that have contributed. Big Iron Construction is a sponsor of the September Fest. It is something important for this community to come together and have a good time in the park. So we'll move forward and be a part as much as we can. I certainly hope we do have a booth there. And the community may have some questions, and hopefully there'll be a lot of directors there so that questions can be answered as well.
I would like to make it say, when we was here, we had trouble getting the mic so we could hear what you're saying. You've been doing a lot of talking, and they were all compliments and things like that. But in my old hearing aids, I could just get words here and there. So, what
You said we like you, Dr. Scherer.
Translation?
Okay.
And Dr. Scherer, on the one condition, have a dunk tank there, and put the directors in the dunk tank.
Director of the chamber.
Thank you very much.
The manager's already addressed 2 of them. One is that we will assign a director, and I am willing to be that director. We will assign a director of RCSD to represent RCSD and the $1,500 that we are giving to the chamber to be at all chamber directors' meetings. I'm volunteering myself to be that person. Whenever the Chamber of Commerce has a directors meeting, I would like to be invited to it and be there when they're making decisions, just like this meeting here. That's my first condition. My second condition is that following the September Fest, we do get an accounting of what was brought in, how it was spent, and what the profits are. That the RCSD get that financial statement from the chamber. And the third one is that we would get a copy of the chamber bylaws that are currently in effect. Those are my 3 conditions for voting yes for this.
Good. Is that a motion, Byron?
So
Yep.
that's amendment to
I would want those included in the motion.
What's that, right, Mr. Scherer? Mr. Scherer?
All right, next Thursday at the MAC meeting, we will have, at 6:30, we will have a chamber meeting before. Okay? Would you please be present, and we will set things and everything like that. And I'll make sure that all the stuff that you just said will be done.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, Steve. We have to fix this motion because we don't only have a motion. So we're gonna have a motion where the staff is recommending that we support them as a platinum sponsor to the tune of $1,500 no more, correct?
Correct.
That we allow the back truck to be part of the parade. And that we join the chamber as a member with the items you bought up and items Byron bought up.
So the total expenditure, I think, is what you're getting at.
No, I'm just trying to make sure we got it because we've been throwing a lot of stuff.
That's correct.
We want to make sure the conditions are clear.
Yeah, well, conditions or qualifiers, whatever they call them. Then, because this probably brings us back closer to the table, Troy, for another, which is a good thing, but you have some things, the George and Byron's kind of mirror one another.
Yes, they did.
Okay, so we can have those, the truck and the mount.
And Byron's volunteering.
Yeah, but, you know what?
This board has to
Yeah,
say.
since I'm a great guy, if Byron's not available, I'll be his backup, so we got that handled. But anyway, Byron, you got.
Byron's got a motion.
You gotta put it all in motion.
What's the price to join the meeting?
I think it's $100.
Oh, that's not much.
Hey, Byron, can you put all that in the motion for us?
And as yourself as a representative is what you need to
Yes.
include.
A financial accounting, I don't guess we need to spell that out, just a financial accounting that comes to the RCSD following the September Fest. That a director, and you would say Byron Glennan, is assigned to represent RCSD at all chamber directors meetings. And then a copy of the bylaws that are currently in effect.
Along with staff recommendations.
Yeah.
Well, his is basically the same.
Right, but Steve added some other things. You got staff recommendations and Byron's recommendations as a motion, so that we have a second.
I second the motion presented by Director Glennan.
Okay, so motion by Director Glennan, second by Vice President Webb. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Dr. Shelton, that dunk tank there, sir.
Thank you very much.
So move.
Second.
Motion is made by Director Glennan, second by Vice President Webb. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, outstanding items, written communications and requests for future agenda items.
Director Webb has one future agenda item. He's looking at the wall. Director, General Manager, Perez.
No clock.
There's a phenomenon that exists in this building. And it just won't let that clock work.
How about we get a cuckoo clock?
I think we have one already. After your last discussion about the clock, I inquired of my staff as to exactly why it wasn't installed, because I want them to put in a proper recessed outlet for a clock rather than try to monkey something in there. And it's a little bit more difficult based on the construction than I was thinking. So one Saturday, I think I might come in here and
So here's
wire
what we
it.
may do, so we'll save all that, Chairman. On the real note, bypass that, get one for the community to see, but there, one right here for the board to see. And call it even.
Yeah.
Put them here, just so we can see them to the
Well,
community.
he's an electrician.
No.
I think you
That's why I said one weekend I'll come in and install it.
If you get two electricians together, it might take more than 1 weekend.
Yeah, it probably would.
Are you bonded and insured? That's what I want.
Okay, item 9, adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Vice President Webb, second by Director Spoor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned at 7:14.